Welcome back to Hobby Jogger Elite. Today we gather to honor a shoe that has passed in my running shoe rotation at this point. This is a shoe that I've talked about before in a 200 plus or 250 plus mile review. It was one of my first shoe reviews, and now we finally retire this shoe. That is, of course, the Nike Zoom X Invincible Run 2. This is a shoe that helped me along in everything from 5K training blocks to marathon training blocks, and has been a very consistent, reliable, steady staple in my running shoe rotation for over a year at this point. And I wouldn't say at any point did it absolutely wow me, but it certainly didn't disappoint me at any point either, given my expectations for this being that very consistent, sort of unexciting but reliable daily trainer in the rotation. So I'm not going to get into a ton of the details that I did in my previous review, as this is sort of a post-mortem on this shoe now that I've put in 533.1 miles in it, and I've decided to stop lacing it up at this point and put it to rest. When it comes to retiring a shoe, there are going to be a number of different factors that sort of contribute to that decision. Personally, I don't often find that like degradation of the upper or the outsole is usually the main contributing factor. Usually it's something to do with the sort of like deadened nature or the sort of unstable developments within the midsole, this white part of the shoe here. And I would say that is certainly the case when it comes to the Nike Invincible Run 2. That's not to say that there wasn't wear on the outsole. I did sort of have usual wear and sort of like the back outside corner of the heel, and then quite a bit of smoothing out on the sort of toe off area there. Beyond that, the outsole held up well. There's not a single bit of exposed Zoom X midsole there. The upper, with the exception of some fraying like right there on the top part of the lacing. Other than that, the upper held together pretty well. I do have to say that it did start to separate itself from the midsole up in the top there, and it was much worse on the left shoe here, where there is a pretty significant gap there between the upper and the midsole itself. But beyond that, this shoe is held together really, really well, and I consider any shoe to be an absolute success story when it gets past that sort of like 5-century mark, that 500-mile mark. This is only the third shoe that I've ever done that in, one being one that I am still using and sort of still waiting to retire, and the other being the New Balance Fresh Foam More V3, which I retired at over 600 miles, over 1,000 kilometers. So definitely mission accomplished when it comes to this shoe. For a very quick, brief reminder, 28 millimeters in the forefoot, 37 millimeters in the heel for a nice max cushion, pretty bouncy ride with an 8 millimeter drop there in the men's size 9.5, right around 10.5 ounces. So yeah, pretty standard for your daily trainer, and definitely the highlight of it is that Zoom X midsole. I would say over time, the overwhelming sort of feeling was that it actually improved with more and more miles. As I sort of crested that 350 to 400 mile mark, I actually found the shoe becoming much more flexible, much more nimble. It didn't feel as much of like a bulky Bodhi tank on my foot. It felt like I could run a little bit more freely, and I would say that the sweet spot in this shoe was like miles 250 through, I would even say up to 450 miles, because that Zoom X just got softer and softer as it went. I didn't feel like it was getting deadened or compacted too much through that. And this was one of the rare cases of a sort of, characterized as soft, bouncy foam actually improving with time and feeling better as I put more and more miles into this. I used it the most when it came to easy runs, of course. This was sort of a go-to shoe when I wanted to get in even medium long runs, sort of like in the middle of the week. So really anywhere from 10 to 12 miles on a normal basis, sort of those longer, easy daily training runs. This was the perfect choice for anything from easy paces, recovery paces, down to like moderate or steady paces, a little bit slower than marathon pace. I found this to be extremely capable. And again, I actually found it to be more and more capable as more time went on and as I put more and more miles into it. It aged very well. And beyond that sort of separation, I don't know if that's just like a poor choice of glue from Nike Nike or whether it had something to do with my own foot strike, the way I ran, the way maybe I pronated at some different points, the terrain I ran on, whatever it might have been. That was really the only issue that I saw. And yeah, as I crested 500 miles, I could definitely feel myself more so in this left shoe, which may have to do more with my own running mechanics and sort of, you know, the way I bear my weight on each side. I felt myself like tilting in and not having as much support on that left shoe as I did obviously when the shoe was a little bit younger. And at that point, when I'm starting to notice something in my mechanics get adjusted because a shoe is definitely aged to a certain point, that's when I sort of decide that, you know, maybe I should be done running in that shoe. At no point did I feel like the grip on this shoe failed me up to the very end. Running on wet surfaces, running on slick surfaces, it held up well, and I ran on everything from very smooth, nice roads to sort of like manicured trails, buffed out trails, you know, packed gravel, whatever it might be, and it was capable in all of those areas. I am sort of naturally a skeptic, a little bit of like a popular, hyped up shoe type of hater. Like if everybody sort of is getting excited about something, or there's some sort of consensus about something being very, very good, I'm gonna naturally be very skeptical, and my default is gonna be to sort of like hate on that thing before I give into the favor of it. And that's how I felt about the Invincible at first. I wasn't very impressed. I didn't feel like it met the hype, but I did feel like it got better and better as it went on. So as a result, I would recommend people to buy this shoe. Now, the Invincible 2 is the outgoing model. The Invincible 3 has of course already come out, so it's going to be hard to find the shoe at this point. It is on sale on places like Amazon. You could probably find it on Zappos, Stadium Goods. There are very few sizes available on Nike.com at this point, so it's going to be tough to find this shoe. I don't know if I plan on buying the Invincible 3 because I think I got what I needed out of this shoe, and there are other daily trainers to try. So I don't know if I would personally buy this shoe again, but for somebody who is looking for a consistent daily trainer that isn't going to wow you but is going to last for miles and miles and miles, in my case over 500 miles, take a look at buying this shoe. And I think that's all I have to say. It's been great running in the Nike Invincible 2. May this pair rest in peace. We'll catch up next time. Peace.